used to put this John Deere 1023, should be the same for 1025R, this mowing deck back on. A year or two ago, whenever I done this first little review video, that was one of my complaints, and it still is. It's not hard, really, once you do it, to get this deck on the way I do it anyway. If you sit here and drag it around the yard trying to use the Autoconnect and can't get it to click, well, that's a little aggravating. It takes a little more time. I think John Deere spent they spent too much time and money trying to make this a feature that you just drive over and it works. Like I say, whenever you test these in the whenever you're looking at them in the parking lot, ask the salesman to get out and drive it around the parking lot and then come back to the deck and see if they can ride on it. Maybe they can if they found the smoothest, flattest spot of pavement in the parking lot. But anyway, all that you'll need for this job is 28mm ratchet, and I use a pry bar, not all the time, but sometimes, and you'll see what I mean here in a minute. You also may want to grab a Sharpie and properly name the deck. Take the A there and stick it in for an Autoconnect, because it's pretty much what it is. I'll be back in a second. Alright, I rode the John Deere over the deck. This right here is usually the problem. To get that thing pulled up tight where it should be, it makes it too hard for the back pins to latch in the rear locks. And when you go to pick it up, it typically slides off. So that's the majority of the problem. I'll go ahead and fix that. See if I can get these guys on. Alright, so here's why I bring the pry bar. Because I'm going to have to lift up on this deck to make that line up with that a little better, because it drops down too far when I lower the deck. I could leave the wheels up, but I don't want to put the weight of the whole tractor on the 4 wheels. I'd rather the weight be distributed through the whole outer linings of the deck, and that's why I do it that way. Maybe if I kept the wheels up, maybe it wouldn't be as bad. I feel like they would sink, or it would just be too much pressure on them. So I'll be back with that in a second. Now I left out a tool. I use a 4x4 here to kind of wedge, use that pry bar to lift up, and then I get the wheel set to where I want it, where it'll line up with these. Then I'll pull forward and be sure all that lines up. It might require a little pulling here or there. And then the next trick is to be sure and loosen both of these. Only the front ones, of course. That's all you can reach with a socket, I guess. And that will allow more movement up front in the initial hookup for those rear pins to slide in. I guess I will do it without doing that first to show you the struggle, a little bit of the struggle that I have, and then I'll loosen that up and show you how it falls right in place. This was one of those rare times where it almost went all the way on, and if I took off just riding forward, it may even clip in. But for video's sake, I'm going to go ahead and loosen it up front and show you how much better it'll fit in there once you do it. Also, if these feel like they don't want to go down and slide in there, it may take some tugging on the deck a little bit, or maybe even a pry bar, small hammer to tap that down in there. So I'm going to go around front real quick and just go ahead. It almost latched on this other side as well, but not quite. And then forward, the further you run it, the more space you'll have to move, of course, in the back. And then you'll see that this pin right here, in just a second, will fully latch. socket, 28 millimeter. Tighten these back down real well. Don't have a torque spec. I just get it tight. It's a little more work than just riding over it, but if it keeps you from dragging your deck around the yard, or it keeps you from cussing for 30 minutes about how it worked at the store, if you call them and tell them, they must, tell them about it, and they'll tell you, there must be something you have out of adjustment. Now, half the guys that are selling these things have probably never owned a tractor. They probably don't own one of these tractors. They're probably just applied for the job and got it. So, no big deal. I still really like my tractor. You just got to come to terms with the Autoconnect is really, it's not that simple, but it's really not that hard to go ahead and take those steps to get this thing locked in there and get back to mowing. Oh yeah, I got some bonus footage for you here also. After you're done with that, of course, be sure and go through and clip your deck wheels back into the desired height, whatever you want. And I think they have a little something that fits on here to keep the discharge guard up. But if you take and just bend this guard just right, and you run it on level, well, this is about the 4th hole. Got 3 showing. It works really well to hold that. So that's it.